I've never been as worried as I am now about whether or not my kids and grandkids will be able to carry on.
He said, I love you, Mr. Trump. I need to see the fruit of your love.
5 of my customers have committed. That's how serious that this is.
And what it costs for us to farm is astronomical now.
I farm with paid-for equipment. All my tractors are 50 years old, and I can't hardly make this.
Hello brothers and sisters. Now most of the white folks are now realizing that the black community has always been right about so many things in the US. Now the black community had warned against voting in a particular way. They had warned about the so-called disaster that was coming to face the US. The white folks never saw this coming. Let's watch this video, then have a really quick discussion at the end of it. Thank you so much.
So Trump supporters that have flipped don't get a pass from me. And I know that's not a popular opinion. A lot of people want to forgive and forget. I see all sorts of fuck around and find out videos being posted where people are explaining how they found out and they're being embraced, and now they want to have open dialogue with everybody. So while I respect people that want to embrace them, and I'm not going to give you a hard time, I am not one of those fucking people. Because every single one of those fuck around and find out videos where people are converting and leaving MAGA has to do with them personally feeling the results of their vote. In other words, until it affected them personally, they were ready to vote for Trump. You see where I'm going here? Zero empathy for people around them unless it affected them. Yeah, so they can just eat a dick. Where's the accountability? At some point, a motherfucker has to suffer for making the mistakes that they made, don't they? How are they ever going to learn their fucking lesson if they were like, oh, well, you know, hey, I burned down the country with my vote, but, oh, that's okay. Man, fuck you. There's this one farm dude out there posting all sorts of shit and getting a lot of traction, right? Because he found out, he signed up for some big federal program that he wanted to participate in. And in order to do that, he had to invest and spend all sorts of money to get his farm ready to do whatever the fuck they wanted him to do. And then Trump goes and rips this shit out from under him. And now he's like, what the fuck? Right? I voted for Trump. I didn't know. The thing is right now he wants to have open dialogue with people. And when people come to him and say, well, you should have known, he's like, well, I'm out in the country. We don't see the news. And anytime I saw social media, which I never do, all I see is right saying left and left saying right and everyone arguing. How am I supposed to know? I'm a farmer. I'm not a political scientist. But then out the other side of his mouth, now he wants to have an open dialogue. So he criticizes anyone questioning his fucking decision, but he wants to have an open dialogue now. Anybody that wants to talk about this and what it really means, let's have that chat. But if all you're going to do is attack me, you can move on. Motherfucker, fuck you. Because the only reason now you give a shit and now you want to have open dialogue is because it affects you personally. You could have fucking had all this open dialogue before you fucking cast your vote like an idiot. And you only give a shit because you were affected. The whole fucking current country is burning around you. Marginalized people are being attacked, and we're supposed to give a fuck about you because you were affected in your fucking farm? No, you vote for Trump, fuck you. We don't need your ass. Personally, I'm going after the 88 million people that didn't vote, and I'm rallying the troops around the fucking common enemy that is that. Now in the future, after you've repented and maybe spent the fucking next 10 years groveling, asking for forgiveness and doing everything you can to support marginalized communities, maybe then we'll think about forgiving your stupid ass. In the meantime,
so y'all remember when it was said that we taking all the black jobs? They really thought that we was gonna be looking for black jobs, y'all. And I woke up this morning, I was scrolling through TikTok and I saw this guy made a video, and I saved it to my favorite so you can go look for it. And he said he was pretending to be MAGA on one of those other apps. He said they were doing a live and the farmers were saying that they thought that the black people would be looking for jobs to work on their farms. Now you gotta be kidding me. Do they think we really looking for farm work? Do they not know that we are educated and we got degrees? And being a farm worker ain't even in the jobs categories that we be looking for. They really don't know how educated some of us are. They don't know how many degrees a lot of us have. They got to be really lost if they think that we want to come and work on their farms. They don't know that our parents and our grandparents growing up wouldn't even let us be outside if it wasn't no shade outside. Do they really think that we gonna work on a farm where ain't no shade trees at? I hate to disappoint y'all, baby. But you're going to have to get somebody else to do it. Because we ain't working on nobody's farm. Never. The only way you're going to see black people working on a farm is if they own the farm. Because we not working on nobody's farm as no workers. So I hate to disappoint y'all. If y'all thought those was black jobs that black people looking for, honey, you better think again. Because black folks that I know got good jobs. We've had a black president. We had a black vice president. We got black senators. We got black congressmen. We got black CEOs. We got black doctors. We got black nurses. We got black psychiatrists. We got a lot of good black jobs. Now, I don't know what y'all thought we was going to be farm workers for. We don't even want to work in the fast food industry. Those jobs, we don't want those kind of jobs. So, I hate to disappoint you MAGA people, but we don't do farm work. So get somebody else to do it. I'll like, share, comment, and repost. Drop in the comments y'all education and y'all good black jobs. Because they don't think we got good black jobs out here. So we need to let them see it.
What do you mean you didn't know? I am being so sincere right now because I truly want to understand how it is possible that in this day and age where we have access to any piece of information that we want in our hands, and we have 40 years of history that we can look back on for this individual, where a scenario exists that you legitimately wouldn't know. There have been dozens of women who have made allegations of SA that span 4 decades. There's video, pictures, audio, testimonies, flight logs. He has been held accountable in court for one of those essays. Where's the confusion? This is also an individual that has a history of conning people, not paying people. He's been in court hundreds of times over the last 4 decades. And I think he's lost about 92% of these lawsuits because he, in fact, does scam and cheat people. He has been found guilty of fraud in a court of law on 30 however many counts. Where's the confusion? Why are you not connecting that all of those things that span 40 years are the same exact person that is now in the White House right now?
What, you want me to have sympathy for farmers? You want me to feel bad? You want me to say, hey, that's anti-American. You can't want them to fail. I don't care. I want them to get exactly what they voted for. So if they fail, let it happen already. Because you know what I'm tired of? Let me tell you what I'm really sick and tired of. I am sick and tired of Democrat presidents getting into office, fixing stuff, and then we go, let's try a Republican again. And Republicans burn it all to the ground. Maybe you're not old enough to remember, but the Clinton years were spectacular. They were so amazing. Anybody alive will tell you, oh my God, the Clinton years were unbelievably good. But you know what the country did? Yeah, they put a Republican. They didn't put his vice president in office. They put in some complete moron. And that's what Republicans do time and time again. They put in complete idiots that wreck everything. And we know this because we see it again and again and again. So now we sit here, we told everybody, by the way, this guy Trump was horrible for farmers last time. Don't do it. What did they do? They went and voted for him. So now you want me to have sympathy? No, absolutely none. Zero. You're going to lose your farms? Okay, that's what you voted for. This at some point needs to stop. At some point, it needs to just burn to the ground again, and maybe this time you'll learn a lesson, because it's going to all go to the ground. Donald Trump has no clue what he's doing. He has people in positions, they have no idea what's going on. That's a fact. So what do you think's going to happen? Everything's going to go to hell. And guess what? We're going to bring in a Democrat to fix everything. And I promise you, in a few years, we're going to put a Republican right back in behind them, and they're going to burn it all to the ground again. Because we've been doing this since Nixon. Yes, we've been doing it for 50 years. And tell me, why?
So the new talking point is that white farmers are the people that feed us. Now, let's put that to the test or determine if that is, in fact, another white lie. So to put it to the test, I asked 3 questions, right? Who is the biggest grocery store in America? 2, what product or what grocery product is their biggest selling product? 3, where is that product grown? So let's take a look. Okay, so first, not surprising, Walmart is the biggest grocery store or grocery retailer in America. Now, here's one that a lot of people may find surprising. Bananas are their best-selling product. Rather in the grocery side, rather it's electronics, rather it's clothing, rather it's toys, rather it's fishing reels, rather it's guns, rather it's bullets, they sell more bananas. So the next question, where do the bananas come from? Here's a list for you. Most of them are South American countries, like Mexico. So the largest grocery chain or grocery retailer in America is Walmart. Their best-selling product, period, is not a product grown in America. It's grown in the country of the people that America is trying to keep out. So yes, if those farmers voted based on immigration, they absolutely voted for their own downfall. Like always, racism is very expensive.
I'm seeing a lot of hate towards these Nebraskan farmers, and I would love to hate on them. But we have to root for them, because if these small farms go out of business, who's going to buy up these small farms? It's going to be the corporations. And we're going to be even more fucked than we are now. They're just going to be able to rule everything, price gouge us on everything. So, as much as I don't want to be supportive, we kind of have to support them and, do anything we can to help them out, even though they voted for the wrong person.
We must talk about this. We have to talk about the status of the farmers. Yep, the farmers. That overwhelmingly, the white farmers that overwhelmingly voted for Trump. Now, the farmers are asking for welfare from the government, because a lot of them are losing their farms because the subsidies that they get from the government, they can't afford the farms without the subsidies in many cases. And they're like, look, we need help. But here's the difference. When the black farmers asked for help, the white farmers filed a lawsuit. They filed a lawsuit against the black farmers for asking for assistance from the federal government. And they weren't able to receive the assistance from the government because of the white farmers filing the lawsuit. Question is, do you think white farmers, should receive the help, the same help that the black farmers had asked for, and they filed a lawsuit? Should the black farmers do the same thing and file a lawsuit? Get in the comments. Let me know.
Thoughts and tariffs. Arkansas farmers who are begging the federal government to save them. Thoughts and tariffs. Aw, you just wanted a little bit of racism and you went bankrupt. Aw. China remains absent from U.S. soybean market as soybeans begin harvest. Soybean farmers are under extreme financial stress. Prices continue to drop. And at the same time, our farmers are paying significantly more for inputs and equipment. Oh, I'm sorry. Thoughts and tariffs, once again. U.S. soybean farmers cannot survive a prolonged trade dispute with our largest customer. China bought 54% of U.S. soybean exports in the 2023-2024 marketing year, under one Joseph Robinette Biden. Farm bankruptcies in the first quarter surpassed all of 2024. Woo! America, you would think you learned from the first time he was president, but no. You just wanted a little bit of racism. You just wanted a little bit of racism and you went bankrupt. Aw, I'm gonna laugh when China buys your foreclosed farm for pennies on the dollar. I am going to be just enjoying that. You played yourself, and you're going to continue to play yourself. You thought the guy who bankrupted 6 companies was going to help you. Oh, you thought this was left versus right. Yeah, it wasn't top versus bottom. You played yourself. We tried to warn you. We tried. So if you're saying I'm being heartless on this, I'm being heartless, we tried to tell you that 1 + 1 = 2. And you continue to argue that simple math. You tried to say 1 + 1 = 36. And then the next day, 1 + 1 = 93. Na boo boo. Ha ha. And you play yourself. Because you refuse reality.
You got to look at this the way I do, and that you got to go back years. But for all you organic farmers out there, fair play for holding out. You might not have got as much money in the beginning, but you're definitely getting your worths now, which is all right with me. I'd rather have clean food that costs a little bit more than, Franken food. So where are we in the current day? So right now there are farmers selling up in the drones. I think some of them are getting rid of their final stock, coming on TikTok and telling us they have to sell, where really they just want the 20% tax to disappear, so they'll disappear with it. Now let's go back, say 15 years. Guy comes to the bar, knocks on the door. Hello farmer, I'm Mr. GMO. I'm going to offer you some bonuses. I'll even give you free seed every single year, and I'll even get it in all the supermarkets for you. Won't have to do any work. Yeah, just sign this dotted line. And they did. Yeah, they didn't care about what it was. How come it's different? Where's the seeds? Yeah, they just took the bonuses for years and years and years. And now it's come to bite them in the back arse. You see, they're getting what they were in the original contracts, but the inflation has gone through the roof. So the supermarkets are making a killing. Now the problem is they go to these farmers, we don't need half of it, dump it, and they will. They'll even come on TikTok and show you, right? I had to dump all this because of a contract that I made many years ago, like an idiot, yeah, where I don't give you any real food anymore, but I get a lot of money for it, yeah. Well, anyway, now they're coming for my 20%. I'm going to sell up to Bill Gates and BlackRock and run off with that 20% GMO bonuses that I got for the last 15 years. And while I'm at it, I'm going to tell you to help me. I'm going to beg you to help me. I'm going to say, save us. Where was you saving us? So yeah, selling like drones. Now, I'm not talking to you organic farmers. We need to get on their shoulders. We need to support them tenfold. They're the ones that we need to go for. Forget all these other clowns. They sold us out many years ago. They can go rot like the food they deliver us. Yeah. The others, let's get them going and try and build more of them. Yeah, how about we get some money and we start buying these farms and turning them in organic? No contracts to these supermarkets. We'll go local with the people and build up this new community of farmers. All right, because what you're doing right now, selling to them, is the end game. What will come next is no food, lab grown, GMO grown, and we will have to have it because there'll be nothing else left. So let that one sink in, folks.
Restaurant, at a car wash, speaking Spanish or having brown skin. That is all they need. If you speak Spanish or have brown skin, you are in danger. My family's in danger. And we have to step up. We have to be the change. We have to spread the word. Make sure to keep your family as safe as you can. You know, let them be informed. And that's the best that we can do.
And I do hope that all you Latinos for Trump never have a day of peace now that the Supreme Court has made it legal for ICE to stop you based on your race. Because some of you are darker than me. Some of you look more paisa than me. And I hope you get stopped. And I hope you get frisked. I hope that in some cases, some people have shown their IDs, their real IDs and stuff like that. And the ICE officers should say that this is fake. And they apprehend them anyways. I hope that happens to every last one of you. I hate you.
Latinos for Trump, it is time to embrace the consequences of your actions. I've always been a firm believer of fighting fire with fire. If somebody goes low, I'll go lower. Now, with that being said, I know for a fact that most Latinos for Trump have undocumented family members, whether that be their parents, siblings, aunts, uncles, etc. So if you know of a Latino who voted for Trump, I urge you to call this number and report said family members. It's time that these Latinos for Trump get a taste of their own medicine and a taste of poetic justice. Now, I know what you may be thinking, Angel, this is extreme, and I agree. But extreme problems call for extreme solutions. And unfortunately, many innocent people are going to be affected by this, but you can't be that innocent if you raised a Latino for Trump. And before all of the Latinos for Trump come at me all angry, this is what you wanted. This is what you voted for. You should be happy. Let me see that smile.
I got deported because I voted for Donald Trump. Now everybody's getting deported because I voted for Donald Trump. Yes, they're getting deported, but they all voted for Donald Trump.
All right, black women, this still ain't our fight. This is not our fight because we told them. Okay, remember, Latinos for Trump.
Hey guys, welcome back again to the YouTube channel. It's so good to have you. Thank you so much for clicking. When you saw this video, so I came across this on my FYP. A lot of Latinos are actually now crashing out, okay, after hearing the Supreme Court ruling, okay. These are people who legit came out and voted for this, like this. And now they are the ones also crying out because they are getting affected, okay. Before now, anything about this shouldn't have happened, okay, but somehow it's now affecting everybody. And some people say, I wonder why any POC we ever think about voting for this in the first place. But you guys, alas, they actually voted for their deportation, okay. Somehow people need to now walk around carrying their, I'm a citizen card around the streets and everywhere. This is actually not funny. This is
Last night, I watched video after video of farmers who might lose their farms because the government is reneging on contracts they wrote with these farmers. Hi guys, my name's Will, your favorite rural campaign and elections expert, and let's talk about it. Now, the problem is President Trump's order to freeze most federal grants and loans has created a panic and uncertainty within the agricultural sector, which relies on billions of dollars in direct government assistance for loans, disaster relief, and conservation practices, many of which have been around since the days of FDR, and farmers have begun to rely on them. Now, if you've watched the news at all, you know that a federal judge blocked the order.
Now, many white conservative folks are beginning to regret not listening to black voices because they are realizing the warnings the black people are giving were very genuine at that time. Now, black communities have been speaking for decades about oppression. They have been speaking about everything that has been happening in the US. No one listened at that time. Most of them actually complained that the black community is very aggressive and they can't just keep quiet and work on themselves. Now, this regret comes from both economic and social realities that is hitting the US at the time. Political betrayals is one of the games that have always been played in the US and in the political arena around the world. But some people have been so very much delusional to see the tricks that have been played along, and they are now seeking for unity as they regret. Do you really see the black community coming out maybe to reinforce the voices and to talk about all these things that are happening in the US? Now, let's focus with this. We have economic struggles mirror what black communities faced for a very long time. Now, for years, black Americans warned about systematic inequality, low wages, job insecurity, and lack of safety nets. These are the things that have been happening in the US. There is some times when you are not faced with something, it is very hard for you to believe that those things happen. Now, for example, it is very, sometimes it doesn't make sense to someone who is fully satisfied when someone talks about hunger, when someone talks about how bad it is to go without food. When you have food, when you have good health, you never see the importance of having them. Now, some of these people have always been favored by these systems, and most of them have been receiving some good wages, and they have had job securities for a very long time. A story is told that a black farmer will not get a loan easily when he asks or when he wants one, but the vice versa is right, that a white farmer can easily get loan, or they can access loans and all those things without very much vetting. And now this explains the fact that the US is now in a crisis. We have tariffs left, right, and center. We have a bad economy. The Chinese are no longer trading with the US farmers or with the US companies directly because of the tariffs. They are now choosing other allies to do these things with. Now, a rural white communities face factory closures because of lack of jobs and high tariffs. Now, farming bankruptcies. Most white farmers are going through a lot at the moment. They do not have workers in their farms. They are going bankrupt, and most of them are closing down these farms or these workshops. That brings the United States into an economic halt where many people cannot afford whatever they used to. Many things are now skyrocketing. The prices of goods are now skyrocketing, and most those people in the rural America cannot afford this. Those who once believed that they receive supremacies because of their color, and that all the privileges in the world belong to them, because they have always believed that the US is a white man's land. Now, for this reason, they have never listened to the black community when they warned about collapsing economy in the coming years. If they voted, or if they had a given, if they went for a given choice. Now, the same white America are now experiencing the same hardship they once denied that could happen to them, and they once denied that they were actually happening in the US. Now, the system is actually going after them, just as it has always done on the black side. Now, this has opened their eyes to the fact that black folks were not exaggerating things, that they have always been right. It is the fact that they never faced these problems. So they didn't believe, not because it is not happening, because they have never faced these problems. Now, we have the political betrayal and broken promises that has always come with most of these politicians. Now, white America has always not believed whatever the black people have said about broken promises. You know, when they talked about reparations many years ago, that they were going to end police brutality, they were going to end the systematic racism, and they were going to pay for reparations. 40 years later, 30 years later, 10 years later, nothing has happened of that sort. It has always been a political conmanship that they have always used to get to the White House. And whenever they land to the White House, they continue with the same system that has been there. Now, many white conservatives had put their faith in politicians who promised prosperity, jobs, and a restoration of traditional America. When I say a traditional America, they mean the America that was going to be great. An America that was going to oppress others for the white people to live in peace and in good state, And instead, they have received that political betrayal they never saw coming. They have been stripped of their resources in the rural towns and worsened healthcare and education systems. These are happening at the moment, and they have received policies that have only favored big corporations and leaving the small farmers struggling for their lives back in rural America. These are some of the things that the black community has always been talking about. Biased system, systematic unrealities that are hitting the US at the moment is very, very crazy. Now, black activists had long warned that these leaders cared little for working class people of any race. That now conservatives are now recognizing the fact that the black community has been very accurate on whatever they have said for all these years. And the warnings they gave they can now feel them at the moment. Now, the social isolation and divisions is whatever is going to cause, or is whatever is going to bring the US to a total collapse. Now, let me explain to you. Conservative rhetoric often thrived on dividing America by race, making America great again. You are black, you are white, and all this. We must deport Latinos, all those sorts of things that have to do with race. Now, painting black demands for justice as a threat to white stability. That's always the thing that has always been said for a very long time. You remember the time of George Floyd? They said those who went to ask for justice, those who were rioting, those who demonstrated were actually risking the collapse of US. They were putting white lives at risk. Now, the same system that has always oppressed another race is now oppressing everyone. Now, I remember the words of Louis Farrakhan. He once said that if you don't give us justice, the black people, justice is going to be taken away from you also. Justice has been taken away from America. You can see white Americans crying. You can see them literally begging for help and regretting. Now, the power of black resilience is whatever they need to learn. Despite centuries of oppression, black Americans have built communities, cultural strength, and networks of survival. Now, white conservatives, seeing their own communities decline, are now starting to admire and even envy that resilience. They now understand that instead of mocking or rejecting black struggles, they should have learned from them. And they're now asking the black community to forgive them because they are regretting and they want to learn from the black community. Do you really think the black community should be willing to teach them how to be resilient in the country they believe it is their own and no one else? Now, racial justice movements have proven to be right for a very long time. You all remember the story of Charlie Kirk, right? Most of the people believe that he was taken down wrongly because of whatever he believed in. But they all forgot that even black leaders were taken down for whatever they believed and whatever they were fighting for. Martin Luther King Jr. was taken down. Malcolm X was taken down. not because they had unalived someone, but because of whatever they believed in, because of talking the truth to their people. Now, police brutality and mass incarceration have been the things black communities consistently raised alarms about. But no one talked. They saw this as a threat to white America and to the white stability. Now, even some of them said that the black community went ahead to exaggerate. They have been exaggerating things for a very long time. Now, the overwhelming evidence from videos, protests, and even global acknowledgement has made it impossible to ignore. Conservatives are now regretting whatever they once thought was right. You know, that police brutality was right, and mass incarcerations were right, and very many other things. They are now facing hard realities. They are now facing hardships that they never thought them as white were going to face. This is a time we should all remember that hardships happen to everyone. Your choices have consequences. They chose MAGA. MAGA is doing them whatever they chose it for. Remember, do not always have so much hatred with your brothers and sisters. And this should be a moral and spiritual awakening that many white conservatives come from Christian traditions, and they have always believed that Christ is the Savior, of course, but they have been very much selective. They only speak on those things that seem to be good on their side, and those that are not good, they are actually complaining because it affects them. If it were not affecting them, they wouldn't have complained about this. Now, this should be a lesson that white conservatives are not only regretting not listening to blacks, but they are also regretting that the economy is hitting them hard. Now, this has proven the black voices to be right all this while. And about inequality, injustices, and the need for unity. They are now asking for the unity that they have always ignored about for a very long time. Now, their humility now stems for economic pain, political betrayal, more conviction, and the recognition that survival in the future depends on cooperation, not on division. We must cooperate. We must not divide ourselves to give politicians a way to come in and mess everything up. Thank you so much for having taken your time to watch this video. I really appreciate. If it's your first time, consider to subscribe, share, like, and comment. Thank you so much.